Good afternoon and welcome to What in the Hell Am I Doing Wrong? And thank you all for joining for my first episode. And I'm glad to have three dynamic people joining me this afternoon. Today we're going to be talking about stepping into 2021, single and living life. And I think, with everybody moving into the new year, we're always talking about, New Year's resolutions and what we want to accomplish during the year. And being single is a big deal, especially for people who are over 40 and living in this world. So I'm going to introduce my guests. I'm going to start with Mr. Adonus Williams. Thank you, Adonus. My beautiful line sister, Dannielle B, and my friend, John Goodlett. So I'm thankful for you all to be here with me today. As we get started, I just want to know, how long have you all been single, if you don't mind me asking?
Been single about a year now. Really single about a year now.
What is really, really single, John? Like, what is really, really single? Is it that you're dating or you're not dating? What does that look like?
Well, I'm dating, but my last relationship ended about a year ago.
Okay. Dannielle?
Technically, let's see. I would say officially, well, I was dating someone for 2 years and that ended September 20th of last year. But I wouldn't say I've been single for much long. I haven't been single that long per se.
Okay, I get that. And save the best for last. Come on, Mr. Adonis. How long have you been single?
Hey, you just gonna put me on the spot, huh?
You have to say, you and I have these conversations. So, let's get into it.
It's been about a year.
About a year?
Yeah, it's been about a year. Maybe a little over a year, fully single. Like no dates, not really dealing with anyone, just work.
So no dates, period. No phone calls, no going out to dinner, no nothing. I mean, granted, the pandemic has been going on, so but nothing at all.
I mean, I've met up with friends, but it hasn't been anything. I wouldn't call it a date.
Okay. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know if that's me or I don't know. Okay, well, I've been single for a few months. I was in a long-term relationship, but I am single and I'm enjoying life and trying to see what's happening out here. So pretty much, I think being over 40, it's very difficult being single. Like, how do you all normally meet people? I mean, I know with everything going on with the pandemic, we don't have the option to go out on, to the bars or to the restaurants or anything like that. So how are you meeting people?
I mean, there's a number of different options. I mean, you have online dating, which seems to be more convenient. Yeah, and
grocery store.
Yeah.
I don't like the online dating per se because you run the risk of meeting cuckoo birds, people who are really crazy. They're not wired too tight.
Yeah,
I'm always worried about that, especially as a young woman. I find it that sometimes whatever they put on their profile is catfish. So they put up a picture from like 20 years ago and then you meet them in person. And it's like, who is that?
Wow. I have never had that problem, but I have met some people that wouldn't wrap too tight with the online dating.
Yeah, and I think with anybody, you can meet a cuckoo bird out in the street. I mean, I think you can meet somebody crazy out in the street or online. But do you all think that online dating has ruined the dating scene for most people?
I wouldn't think so. I have plenty of my friends who met their husbands and wives via online dating. I have one of my closest friends. They just celebrated their 12th wedding anniversary, and they met on blackpeoplemeet.com. I have another set of friends. They've been together for already 4 years. Beautiful long-term relationship. They met on Plenty of Fish. So it just depends, I would say.
Oh, I've heard some bad things about Plenty of Fish. I actually have a very good friend, and one of my BFFs. She met her husband on Black People Meet. So I'm not against it, but a friend of mine also said you're going to kiss a lot of frogs before you find that prince on online dating. But I think that's in general just when you're out dating, period. And my sister, I see someone in the comments, my sister even said she met her husband in 2001 on Black Planet. So, I mean, I think the online dating for me, what I think, online dating has somewhat taken the courtship out of dating to me, because I think people find it easy to just maneuver, with so many options online as if they had to like meet somebody in person. It takes away that communication to me, like that authentic, organic communication. And then, and I see someone else said, my other friend, Crystal said she met her fiance online as well. So I think it works for some people, but I think some people use it as a smorgasbord of just meeting a whole bunch of people at once and just having their, like a kid in a candy store, just having their pick at whatever. John, you look like you got something to say. What you want to say? Can you hear me, John?
Well, I think it does take away from the, yes, I hear you. It does take away from the face-to-face or the getting to sort of see what somebody smells like or look like up close. You just want to give them the once around.
Yeah, I mean, I think that exactly, because I think, like Dannielle mentioned, it's people doing catfishing out here. So they might put a picture up from 1995 and it's 2021 and they look absolutely nothing like that today. And that's not right. That's not right at all. And I do think, like, I recall growing up and back in the day when guys would approach you, they had to put forth that effort to court you, to meet you, to try to date you. But now it's like, okay, if she don't like me, I'm moving on to this one. I'll move on to that one. So, I see the pros and the cons of online dating. I do. I see the pros and the cons of it. And I think that has put, a lot of roadblocks into the actual natural, communication of people and dating.
Agreed.
Agree?
I do agree with that. Yes.
I agree with you. There's pros and cons.
And then in the comments, like someone just said, you have to do an investigation first. And I mean, I think that's what anybody today, you have to do investigation. And I think that's the good part of the internet. It has allowed us the opportunity to research people to make sure, okay, he didn't kill somebody a few years ago. I mean, because those things are real, because there's people out here scamming folks. A lot of people doing online scamming with, like, I was watching a documentary and it was like, these men in Nigeria, they were scamming these women, out of tons and tons of money. And I think, as we get older, people are more vulnerable. You're feeling a little bit more vulnerable in the dating field and you just want that companionship. So you may be more inclined to just hand over your bank account information or, very personal things like that. But that's happening to people. So, I mean, okay, with some of the dating that you've experienced, what have been some of the things that have been obstacles to, like, really meeting that person that you want to meet, like really meeting that special person? What do you think has been in your way of doing that?
I live in Miami, so that's an obstacle.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, this is the party and play city.
Okay, so you're trying to say that people in Miami are more on the party side of it. They're not looking for that commitment or anything like that. You're muted, Dannielle. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I say that because this is a city where people like to party and play a lot, and they're not seeming to want to be solidified in a relationship or to gravitate towards more of a relationship. I find it very difficult here and to keep a relationship here because you find a lot of, I hate to say it, infidelity here. A lot of distractions here, so to speak, very attractive ones. So some people who are very weak or do not value what they have, they tend to be wayward. So that's another issue. And then you have people who are just readily available to want to be the third party in a relationship. I don't even know how, or want to be in an entanglement. I don't know why. That's not my style. I'm very old fashioned, but I never felt being a side chick or a mistress was something that you should be proud of. But here it's glorified, very much so, in
Yes.
Miami. So, and it's commonplace. I hate to say it's literally glorified here. So,
Well, you know, Dannielle, I'm from Miami too, but I
Yeah.
Metro, and so is Adonus, you know, but he and I are here in Atlanta now, and so is John. And I think the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Same thing here. And I think it's even worse actually in Atlanta, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I think it is because, well, I mean, I'm speaking from a female perspective. You have one woman to about every 5 men here, and they know it, and they're proud of it. And it's like the side chick mentality or the side piece mentality is glorified because some people have the mentality of I'd rather have a half of a man than not have one at all. And so I think that's where we fall short.
I'm selfish. I don't believe in sharing. I didn't learn that in kindergarten. I
Like
don't
you
believe
said,
in sharing
Jameelah.
my man. Not at all.
What did you say, Juan? What did you say? I think he froze.
Like you said, Jameelah, you in Atlanta, you're gonna have to kiss a lot of chicks before you get to a good chicken dinner.
Yeah, that
You're gonna have
sounds
to kiss a
about
lot of
right,
chicks before
man.
you get to that chicken dinner. Yeah.
The dating game in Atlanta is horrible.
So I mean, you really have to get past. You have to get past that representative. You have to. I guess you have to. You have 30 seconds. Really.
Mm-hmm.
You have the 30 seconds to prove yourself, to say what you want somebody to hear, what you want, what they want you to hear. And after that 30 seconds, they make that mental checklist. And if you're not on it, or if you're not checked off, they can move on to the next person.
That's true. And Adonus, you were saying it's bad here. Like what is happening here?
Oh my goodness, where do we start?
Yeah.
Atlanta's terrible, man. I mean, there's too many options. There's too many people up here that are okay with settling. There's too many people up here that are okay with lying. Just like the other young lady from Miami, she said being the side chick or the side, it's too many of that. For the women, it's bad here because a lot of the women who want relationships don't know if that man is straight, if he's gay, or, you know, no offense if anybody is, you know.
No, I know what you're saying, Adonus. You know, and it's nothing about being homophobic or anything like that. Some people are not living their truth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's hard for women to tell, and then for the men that want relationships, a lot of times we're running into women that are they're it seems like they're scared to be with a straight up guy because they're so used to dealing with dud. Like, is this guy serious? Does he really want something? You know, there's a lot of barriers that we have to try to break down to let a lot of women who want relationships know that we are serious with them. Sometimes it's worth it, but sometimes like that's too much. And then you have some of the women that are just used to dealing with the knuckleheads, and that's just what they want. They don't really want a good guy. And then on the flip side,
that's what they expect.
Yeah, that's what they expect you. It's like I've had conversations with so many cats, and they be like, "Man, do these women really want to get drugged? Do they?"
Honest, no, they don't. I think the women here, I mean, I'm speaking as a woman who's been in Atlanta over 20 years. I mean, I've been divorced, I've been in relationships. We have been good. And I mean, I think the trust level that we don't have and what we expect a lot from the men here is because of the examples that we've been given and stuff that has happened to us. Because I mean,
Exactly.
you're looking at somebody right in the face, and then the next minute they going somewhere else with someone else. And I mean, that is just the reality of it. It's unfortunate, but it's true. It's very true. It's very true. And I think it happens on both sides, the deception. I think someone in the comments just said, Atlanta is Black Hollywood. Everyone is an actor, stuntman, producer of foolishness, etc. It is just a matter of, you know, what you are willing to tolerate. And I think for a lot of people, you know, they just want to have that companionship. And I think the reason why I decided to talk to people over 40, we fall into this category a lot because a lot of people just want that companionship, and they'll say, okay, well, he may not be everything that I want him to be, or he may not do X, Y, and Z, but he's here sometimes. So why not go with that? And I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's not enough. It's not enough.
I think, especially when it comes to women, because I've been engaged a few times, a few times, but I've never made it down the altar because I found out certain things, deception, of course, that led me not to, you know, go ahead and become Mrs. Such and such because I just don't believe you should get married to be divorced. That's just me. I feel that marriage is very sacred. It's a sacred bond created by God. And so a marriage is not the ceremony itself, or like we say in Espanol, la boda. Okay, it's not the marriage, the ceremony. It's you and that person, that connection. So like, for example, Junie might remember my first ex-fiance. I had cancer and he wasn't there to be supportive of me, right? That in itself, yeah, you cut off. Like, I'm going through it. You're not there to be supportive of me. I'm literally at death's door and you're not supportive of me. How can I marry you? There's no way in hell. That's over with. And then on top of that, to steal the money that I had set up aside for the wedding that I needed to pay down my medical bills. Yeah, that's a problem. Your character, you have poor character. So I can't be with somebody like that. So when I see certain things that don't align with, what is necessary for a good bonding marriage, where that person is your friend, they have your back, I have your back. We're mutual. We support each other. It's non-toxic. It's positive. You're going to have bad times. We always do. But it's how the person treats you even in those bad times and how you treat that person. That's very important. And so when you see certain red flags, you should not avoid them. That's just me.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Dannielle, because that goes into something else about, red flags and things like that. I was just having a conversation the other day with a friend of mine about red flags and women who, like trusting our intuition because God has blessed us with that. And I think that a lot of times we do not tap into that and we try to ignore it and say, I'm just being paranoid, I'm just not being trusting, and I'm allowing my past to dictate my future. But we see red flags, they could be big as a wall, but we'll still like go right on and keep on moving with that person. But I don't think that that's an area where I feel as women, we do lack. And I mean, some men too, they may see the red flags, and because this woman is gorgeous or she may be this, that, and the other, they'll be like, oh, I can deal with it. But you know what you can and you cannot deal with. And I think right now, and where I am at 42, there are a lot of things that I am not going to deal with that I might have dealt with at 24. So, you move on. And I just feel like in this part of my life, I guess we're considered middle age almost, I guess. When you move on, when you get to this point in your life, certain things I just won't tolerate. When you disturbing my peace and my sanity, I cannot deal with that. None whatsoever. John, thanks for joining us. Are you back? Technical difficulties. What's happening? Anything you want to say, Adonus?
I'm looking at the comments.
Yeah, they getting live in the comments.
It was one that said, what advice would you give to a side chick to get out of the situation? Go get your own man, baby. if you could be a side chick to this dude, you can go find a single man and be his main chick.
And let me ask you that, Adonus. So let me ask you, okay, you said that, go and find you your own man. John is gone. I guess he'll join us when he's finished having technical difficulties. Okay, so but when you say, okay, go and find your own man, a lot of women out here, they don't want, to be a side chick. They want to be with someone that's their one and only. How does a single woman go and find her own man when it's so many men who have prescribed to the side chick lifestyle? They want that. They want multiple women. They feel like, oh, I'm not married, so I'm single, so I could date whatever or whoever. How does a woman navigate that?
Oh, okay, are we still there?
Yeah.
Okay, my dad called in. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. How does
Mm. I'm not hearing anything. I couldn't hear you. Maybe it's my end. I'm not sure.
Adonis, you still there?
You still don't hear anything? Mhm.
You think he's speaking?
Yeah, you're speaking, but for some reason I can't hear what you're saying. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Well, Junie, in the meantime, while we're waiting on Adonis to navigate through that, I will say that it's important for women to advocate for themselves more, to speak up on what it is they're comfortable with and what they're not, boundaries. And if you can't respect and love yourself, how can you expect someone else to do so for you?
Mhm.
I feel that, like what you said, what I could deal with at 24, I guess, I
Mhm.
definitely cannot. And I'm 43. I'll be 44 in July, thank God.
Mhm.
And there's non-negotiables. You know, putting your hands on me, that's a non-negotiable. Calling me out my name, being emotionally abusive and mentally abusive, that's a non-negotiable.
Right.
You know, there's just certain things that it just not even on the table. Now, compromise is important when it comes to character, like different things that, okay, let's say you want to wash the dishes this way and I like to wash the dishes that way or something. That's something normal.
Right.
But when it comes to how you treat me and how I treat you, and someone keeps talking about reciprocity, I
Mhm.
believe in that.
Yes.
Because, like I explained to one person I was talking to, I come and bring my own table. So I know what I bring forth in a relationship. And I know what I'm here to offer, and I'm always willing to learn, and I'm always willing to be open to, just share, and that person the same way. And I believe in treating people how I want to be treated. I truly believe in that. But if you disrespect me and definitely, take me for granted or not appreciate me, I will walk away. I have no issues with that
Mhm.
because I will not be abused. I will not be misused. I will not be mistreated. So God didn't make me and for me to be on this earth for this short time for that to happen anyway. So that's not happening. Yeah.
And I totally agree, Dannielle. And I think a lot of times, with the male and female, I'm gonna have my cousin on next week, and he's gonna be talking about the dynamics between male and female, dating relationship. But I see that someone, and this is where my mind was going, independence is intimidating to some men. And I think a lot of times that has been, and Adonus, you can speak on that as well as a male, the only male that's left on the panel right now. So, I mean, as you can speak on that, I know for me, I'm a very independent person. I'm very open-minded, but I am also very outspoken. And I have no problem with following traditional roles and, being what is considered submissive. But I'm not going to be submissive to the point of losing who I am as a person. And I think a lot of people, don't understand what being submissive in a relationship is. They want you to be a slave or do what as they say. And that's really not what it's intended for. And I think it's misinterpreted. So I know for me, I have always been told that I am too independent or I am too, I speak out too much or what have you. And I'm not going to stop being who I am to make someone else happy. But do you think, Adonus, as a male, do you think that a woman showing her independence, that can be too much for some men? I think your audio is not working properly. Yeah, I don't know. It's something I can't hear you, Adonus, at all. And someone in the comments says, women don't have a problem with following a man as long as the man has direction. And that's absolutely correct. A woman has absolutely no problem following a man if he is something to follow. I mean, I'm not going to be following someone who's going to take me down a road of destruction. And I think a lot of men, they feel that if just because you're not doing as they say, you're not being submissive or you're not, falling in line. I feel like if I have seen proof that this man is strong, he's a leader, I will definitely, follow him. Yeah, someone suggested, Adonus, if we can't hear you, if you can respond in the chat, that would probably work. Let's see. Yes, and that's for Dannielle. Do you have anything to add about that?
I was going to say, sure, a woman can be submissive to any man that has direction. I mean, they are the head and we are the neck. So, like, I was raised to know that I was raised to be a helpmate, not a footstool. So that's two different things going on, right? So a footstool obviously is not one to be respected. Everyone can put their muddy boots on that or anything like that and be stepped on. But definitely I was raised to know and embrace my femininity, right? But still I have a brain, right? I'm not just beautiful, I'm also intelligent. And so in that aspect, my intelligence was there to be placed by God in different manners to assist in my career, assist others. But also, when I get with my husband, he should be able to trust me to assist him to make sure we're steered in the right direction, just like I trust him to steer us in the right direction. He's my king and I'm his queen. So we rule together as an empire. And I think that's the right way to do it. And when you were commenting about the independent part, I look at Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, and today is her birthday. And today it happens to be my sister Marlene's birthday too. And when you look at Michelle Obama, she's independent, but that's what attracted him to her. She's highly intellectual. She embraces her femininity. She is strong. But that is what appealed to him the most about her. And so in essence, I just think certain men are just made for certain types of women. And so navigating through the dating field, I think that's another thing. Are you compatible with that person? Okay, sure, I may find you attractive and you're attracted to me or whatever, but are we compatible? Do we get along? Can we mesh? Can I deal with you if we're stuck in quarantine? Something of that nature, right? That's important. So it's not just about dating for the sake of dating to try to get with someone in a strong relationship, but can we connect? Can we build into a partnership where we decide to, branch off into something greater? And that's important too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up the Obamas, because that's a prime example of an independent, strong woman who is supportive of her man and they have a loving relationship. But then in the comments, Camila said, but women have to stop trying to be a wife to Pookie. And I agree, because Pookie, and when she says that, I know exactly what she means. You're doing wifely things to someone who is not deserving of that treatment. And I think we have to stop doing that. And I think that, as we get older, and a lot of women, by nature, we're nurturers. So we want to be that helpmate. We want to, help them do things. But, sometimes you have to set your standards a little higher. You really do. And I had to put this because it was funny. They're going crazy in the comments. Pookie is a dusty man. I'm sorry.
It's funny that you say that, because when I think of Pookie, I think of my favorite movie, New Jack City.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because Pookie was the crackhead. That was Chris Rock's character. So that's what I think of when I think of Pookie. So, yeah, Pookie, I want to give it the time of day.
So, John, I'm glad you're back with us. We have kind of veered off into, gender roles and different things about, prescribed roles for men and women in the dating field and dating. And John, I'm going to put you on the spot for a minute. As we're talking about, marriage and things like that, and as Black people, a lot of times we don't see, healthy marriages or healthy relationships and different things like that. So a lot of times we don't know how to mimic that or to adopt that into our lives. But I know I'm probably getting a little personal, but you had a great example of that. Your parents were married for over 50 something years. And I would always say, I would see your parents, John and I went to church. I would see your parents always, they would still help. Can you hear me? What did you say, John? Oh, I can't even. But his parents still held hands and they still did loving things. So it's like when you see that, you're he's gone again. Well, his parents were a great example of, you know, a loving married couple that you would aspire to want to be. And I can genuinely say that they were in love. And I think that, do you feel that because we haven't seen that many, you know, successful relationships in our culture, you know, is that a problem why we don't experience that as adults?
I don't know if I when you speak of successful marriages and cultures, being that I have a very strong Caribbean and Latin background, you know, I would say that it just varies even with background, because I remember I had this conversation with someone. Some people were brought up in love and some were brought up in survival, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So someone who's been brought up in survival will not think similarly to someone who was brought up in love, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're brought up in love, you naturally have this glow about you. You have this radiance about you. You attract, you almost have this light that also brings moths, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be careful, because some people only know about survival. They don't know anything about love.
Right.
So then they take advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to protect your heart and be weary of that and watch out for that. Like I had to learn that because I was brought up in love and I was surrounded by that. So I can recognize something that's toxic right away and like want to flee, want to fly, you know, fight or flight, right? So in my case, recognizing those red flags, like we were talking about early on, definitely saves you a lot of heartache, heartbreak, all of the above. And I think people need to recognize that also therapy is very crucial. Our community sometimes frowns upon it, or they're now trying to embrace it more, especially like with Charlemagne talking about, you know, therapy is a beautiful thing, especially for our men and for our women, because we always think we're super women or Wonder Woman, we can do it all. But we need to understand that we are still human. We still deserve to be loved. You mentioned how independent you are, but you're a loving person. You deserve to be loved, Judy. Just as I do, right? Just because a woman is strong doesn't mean she doesn't deserve to be loved. Doesn't mean she shouldn't be nurtured or catered to. Just as much as she wants to cater, just as much as we want to cater to our men. So, because our Black men go through a lot.
They do.
They go through a lot of torture, right? And trauma. So with that being said, I think for our community, I wouldn't even say that it's just that we haven't been exposed to good marriages per se, because if you look at the 1950s and 60s and 40s, yeah, they were existent. My grandparents, you know, they existed. I just think with times and people not dealing with their trauma and things of that has broken up, you know, what would have been good relationships or something of that sort, because people didn't want to deal with their individual trauma or their issues and things of that nature. So it causes a rift, right? So I think more so it's just becoming more whole as a person, you as an individual first, before you try to seek to connect with somebody else, because you got to be whole.
I agree. You bring up therapy, and I agree with you, because I look at my grandparents, both my maternal and paternal grandparents were married up until both of them died, and my parents were married up until my father's death. So it exists. But I think a lot of people, you know, we go to history, and I spoke about this in an interview I did recently. Historically, you know, there has been, I consider, a war on Black love in this country as far back as slavery. And then you go through like during the 60s and stuff with the welfare reform programs, where families were being torn apart due to the fact that they didn't want, if a man was in the house, that family could not get assistance, knowing good and well that this Black man is out here trying to make a living, but because of his socioeconomic status, he cannot provide for his family. So the government wants to also continue to hinder us in a way to not allow that family to prosper. So that's another incident. And then the mass incarceration of Black men. That's another thing. And again, with the survival thing, we grew up in a survival mode. You know, like I'm going to survive. You know, I don't want to be hurt. I don't want my feelings hurt. So I'm going to do what I need to do to move forward. And I think that's how we move in this world. And I think in the comments, a lot of people are saying, and I think Adonus is having some technical difficulties with his audio, and John keeps going in and out. But I would love for a man to answer, like, how to deal with, you know, a woman that is broken. And I think, you know, Adonus, if you could type in the chat if necessary, like, life has caused a lot of women to be broken. It's a sad reality. How would you deal with a broken woman? I mean, I think a lot of men, they love to say that Black women are broken. We're angry. We're all of the above. But a lot of women deal with trauma due to these relationships. And I think that a lot of men are not sensitive to that. You know, I mean, I think there are men out here who have also dealt with trauma and, you know, bad relationships. But I know women, we're very emotional creatures by nature, and our heart gets broken. So how, John, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, John, if you can answer this. How, life has caused a lot of women to be broken. How would you deal with a broken woman?
Well, I would take it step by step. I would hold her hand through the whole process. I would try to reassure her feelings through each step. And I guess old adage, baby steps. Did you hear me?
I heard the baby steps after that. Okay, I don't know if it's me or whatever, but I know Donna's typed to me, dealing with a broken woman.
I would
Okay, he's gone again. So Adonai said, dealing with a broken woman requires a lot of patience, understanding, and love. That is true. And then I see another comment, and some broken men are so desensitized to hurt, they can't recognize the same hurt in their mate. So as a result, the toxic environment is born. That is so true. Some men are so desensitized to hurt because they've been through so much. I know a man that has been, you know, he's so desensitized, being hurt, he doesn't see it in himself, and he will deny it at any cause if you bring it up to him, because he's built that barrier up in him. And that can be also, that is a toxic environment, and that can make for a very toxic relationship. So yeah. Hi, John. So you were saying something?
Can I answer that question, please?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, I want to answer that question. I think I would. I think I'd take baby steps with her. I would reassure her feelings, of course, and I would just go step by step, and of course, ask her question to see if she was very comfortable with the relationship or with this whole process. Oh my God.
That's true. That's okay. I'm glad I don't hear Sparky. And Adonis just said, broken men are broken and can't recognize a broken woman because they haven't dealt with their issues. And that's true. A lot of men don't deal with their issues. They don't want to go to therapy. They don't want to address it. And I think in order to have a healthy, loving relationship, you have to deal with yourself first. And I think that's, you know, as going back to stepping into 2021, I think this should be a time for a lot of people to do some self-reflection, you know, like self-reflection on what they need to do for themselves in order for them, like you said, Dannielle, in order to move forward in a relationship, you have to be a whole person yourself. So I think that a lot of people are not whole, and they need to, you know, be able to move in that direction as well. So that's another area that I'm working on myself, is to become whole as well. And women are very understanding and compassionate even during a storm. Most men do not extend the same grace and mercy, and that's true. I've experienced men saying, oh, you're just being overly sensitive. They will make comments about, oh, your period must be on, that's why you acting that way. You know, a lot of things are said to women that are very insensitive when they're expressing how they feel. So I do feel like some type of compassion and understanding needs to happen on both ends. It needs to happen on both ends. So, okay, we're in 2021. Do you all plan on dating this year, or going with the flow? Like, what do you plan on doing, and how would that look?
Yes.
I'm dating.
Are you dating?
Yes.
I'm dating. I'm happily dating. I'm just being very selective. Actually, I have to cut somebody off today. So I realize for me, consistency is very important. I have my standards very true, but I firmly believe if someone is really into you, right, they'll definitely show that. I don't believe in ghosting and any of that foolishness. We're too grown for that, right? And either we're compatible or we're not, and that's fine. I mean, there's guys I've dated that we're friends. There's not even an issue with that. And then, of course, there's guys I've dated, we can never be friends because they were disrespectful, right? Exactly. So, in essence, for me, I'm dating, definitely. I am. I'm open to meeting someone that is worth my time, worthy of me, I worthy of them.
Yep.
And definitely for us to mesh. So that's not an issue for me. I'm not cut off, or I don't know what they say, bitter, or I don't know. Well, whatever that is. But I am definitely open to that. And but I'm being observant. Yeah. Definitely. That consistency for me is important. I mean, for us to connect, we got to get to know each other. So if we're not talking or communicating, right, often enough, and I'm not talking about almost every day, but at least 5 times a week, something like that, for us to discuss, because I know we both have busy lives, but I make time for what's important, even with my busy schedule.
Every day, I need to be communicated with on a daily basis.
I get what you're saying, but there's some days I wish you can extend that 24-hour period, because it's just not enough hours in a day, and you're just like, oh, sweet baby Jesus, I wish I had more time, but things just happen, and for me, I need to connect with that person. I need to get to know you mentally. I need to, verbally communicate with you and get to know you personally and things of that nature, And if we can't do that, well, you can't pass
and
this.
It takes some time, doesn't it?
It takes time. It takes time to do that. But if you're not willing to put that effort in, so why are you wasting my time? Why are you in my inbox? Leave me alone. Go away.
That's how I feel. And Adonus said he is going to be dating eventually, but he's going to be taking baby steps because it's a jungle out here. So he said he is going to be dating. So John, what about you? Will you be dating?
Yes, I do intend on dating. Day to day. If I meet someone, I'm going to introduce myself and take it from there. I've been shooting game every day. That's what you're supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah, not shooting game. I mean, I don't want to do. I mean, shooting game is a very bad thing. You don't want to shoot game. You need to have organic and authentic conversation. What I'm saying is, you flirt. That's what I mean. Okay, you flirt. Okay, all right. Okay, so besides dating, what are some of your goals and aspirations moving forward in 20? And I like this comment: transparency without oversharing is also key in dating. So you can share and be totally honest, but you don't have to give them your whole life story from beginning to end. You kind of leave a little something to the imagination. So I totally agree with that, because that could come to bite you in the butt in the end. So that can't happen. So moving forward, and it's about daily communication. I'm a big advocate for that. I mean, if you're trying to pursue me, and like the old folks used to say, if you're trying to court me, you need to be calling me at least once a day, or texting me, or saying something to me to let me know that I'm on your mind, because I will completely dismiss you if you don't do those things. And that's a fact. So, like, going into 2021, what are some of your other goals or aspirations for this year? I mean, hopefully things will get better and we don't have a complete repeat of 2020. So, like, what are some of the things you're looking for? or you want to do? I know for me, for example,
I think I might
platform.
wanna.
Oh, boy.
I think I might want to try online dating.
So you never tried online dating before?
Right now, never.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you've been old school with it from the jump.
Old school.
So you haven't done it. You haven't jumped in anybody's inbox and tried to meet them that way. So it's just been straight up. You see a lady in the street and you want to meet her, you go and meet her. Okay.
Sometimes I do. Then other times, you can't meet everybody that you want to meet.
Okay, that's true. So okay, so you will be that's going to be on your agenda this year to consider trying online dating. That's something you're going to be doing.
Yes.
Okay, and Adonus said his one of his goals is to finish school and going into business for himself. That's excellent. That's awesome. That's what I'm doing too. I'm also extending my platform and following my dreams. That's what 2021 is looking like for me. So Dannielle, what is going on for you in 2021?
Well, last year during the pandemic, thank God, I earned my second graduate certificate from Harvard in contract law. Mm-hmm. So I'm preparing literally for law school. Finally achieving that. Junie knows from undergrad, that's what I wanted to do, but I had to postpone that because of family issues. I had to assist my mom so we can salvage our house. So I had to settle with becoming a teacher so I can make a decent paycheck to assist my mom with the mortgage and things of that nature. So now it's more so living for myself and hopefully be a homeowner of my own this year. Okay. Definitely created my LLC also last year for consulting. And Junie and I know from PRSA and dealing with working in that field. I have a very strong background in public speaking and also image consulting. So I'll be working on that as well. So I'm pretty excited. And then, of course, I'm on my health and fitness. I've been very focused on making sure I'm healthy spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, all around. So yeah, that's mainly what it is this year for me. Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. So we're going to wrap this up. So hopefully, thank everybody. I think I've lost John again, but thank you, Dannielle, Adonus, and John for joining me today. Next week, we'll be talking about, the male-female dynamic in a relationship, and I'll be doing some other shows on business and different things like that. So I just want to say thank you all for being here, and thanks for joining me. And everybody, have a great Sunday evening. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.